Hi, my name is Raj Iyer. I'm an immigration attorney and I specialize in employment and investor visa. Today we are going to talk about E-2 non-immigrant visas. E-2 visas are one of the most versatile non-immigrant visas out there. Any foreign investor who wants to set up a business in the United States can take advantage of this visa, provided he is a citizen of one of the 80 plus countries with whom US has a invest treaty. The list of the countries which has a treaty with the United States is available on our website www.shusterman.com or on the website of Department of State. A good thing about this E-2 visa is that you don't have to be born in that country. You don't have to be always a citizen of that country. Even if you are a citizen of countries say like China, India, Vietnam, but you obtain citizenship in Australia or Canada or Mexico or Spain, any other countries, you are eligible to receive this E-2 visa. There is a great advantage of E-2 visa. For one, though the duration of each E-2 visa when they give it to you is for a period of 2 years, you can keep on renewing this visa as long as you are successfully able to run your business in the United States. So typically you get an E-2 visa, you run your company, and after 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, you can keep on getting an E-2 visa. We have done an E-2 visa for a person who was 100 years old successfully. So, and that person was on an E-2 visa for at least 35 to 40 years. And another big advantage of an E-2 visa is that your spouse can also get a work permit. The E-2 visas are regarded as versatile because you can, even if you're not in the United States, you can directly prepare a package and send it to the US Embassy or consulate abroad and you can get an E-2 visa. Or if you're in the United States, you can change your status while remaining in the United States even without traveling abroad. So these are the two big advantages. Some of the other visas, you first have to apply for US immigration and then only after its approval can you go to the embassy to get a visa. But with an E-2 visa, you can directly apply at your consulate. Now, what are the requirements of an E-2 visa? Anybody who's thinking of setting up a business in the United States for the purposes of an E-2 visa should first think everything in terms of business. If you're setting up a business wherever you are, you definitely would like to understand what exactly is involved with that. How much is the cost? Where should the business be set up? What are my total expenses? How much money would I be requiring to start this business? And once you line up all your expenses and action items, you got to consider how much money you have to set up a business in the United States. The regulation states that it has to be a substantial investment, but there is no definition as to what is substantial. So yes, they will not grant you an E-2 visa if it's just a $10,000 investment, but hey, if it's $100,000, $150,000 or whatever, depending upon your business needs, it is possible to invest that much amount and get an E-2 visa. And one important criteria what they look at is like the money which you're investing and the money which will come out of the earnings from the company. Is it just enough to support you and your family? If that is the purpose of you coming to the United States, they probably might deny an E-2 visa. An E-2 visa should be able to generate enough income not just for you but all the employees working and also make some profit. As I mentioned earlier, the size of investment is same thing as the substantiality. Normally, at least 100,000 would be required to set up an E-2 visa. It's always, if it's a larger investment, it's always better. But in case if it is less than 100,000, though 100,000 cannot guarantee an approval, but if it is less than 100,000 or just around 100,000, the scrutiny is going to be higher. So the onus is on you to prove that this is what the investment is going to be at this point in time, and this is all what is required at this point in time for my business, and moving forward perhaps more investment may be required, or this investment itself will generate adequate or additional money for sustenance of business. One crucial thing for an E-2 visa is what US government is always very concerned about is where the money is coming from and who actually controls that fund. US government does not want any money laundering money to come into the United States. So it's very essential to prove that where the source of fund is. It could be from anywhere. It could be if your previous earning or a gift from some members or a real estate investment or a stock investment. As long as you can prove where the money is coming from and can be traced, the source of money can be traced, that's enough. Also, one important thing for an E-2 visa is the fact that the money which you invest should be at risk. It should be your money at risk, which means that in case the business does not sustain or if it's a loss, you are the one who should be suffering the loss, not your father-in-law, not your friend, or no other person, not a third party. So for that purpose, it's very important to show that it's your own money. And it's not that you should earn it, the money should be earned, or the money which you're investing is only an earned income. You can always get a loan as long as the money is secured against your own property. The property can be in the United States or abroad. But as long as the money is secured against your own properties or assets, that money can be invested for the purposes of an E-2 visa. Business plan is extremely crucial. For any successful E-2 visa, to obtain an E-2 visa, it's very important that time and money and efforts are spent on developing a good business plan. That essentially is again like any other business which you would be running. Your business idea, I mean, it should have a business idea. It should know why you are opening up this business, what is the market potential, why did you decide upon a particular place to set up your business, how many employees are you going to have over a period of time, how it's going to benefit the US economy. And this would also enable you to overcome that marginality issue. That is to show that the money which is going to be generated from this company is not just to support your family, but it's going to have a larger benefit to the US economy. Where should you set up this business? Well, it's a good question. Majority of the business, when you want to set up, it's always advisable to have an office space leased from where you can start your E-2 business venture. But immigration is aware of the fact that some businesses do not require an office at the initial stage. The whole key is that if that business is real and it's active and it's running and it's providing some service or selling some goods in the United States. So if you want, you can initially set up a home office and start running your business from home office. But the business plan should cover as to why you are initially starting from home office and how over a period of time it will expand and you will take a office space or a traditional office space, because you cannot forever run a home office. That probably immigration, though initially they might give you an E-2 visa, but over a period of time when you're seeking an expansion or when you want an extension, it could become an issue. One of the frequently asked questions when it comes to E-2 visa is like, hey, can I purchase a franchise? Yes, you can buy a franchise, but it's always better to consult an immigration attorney if you're getting into a franchise business. Not that for other things you don't need an immigration attorney, but franchise issue is kind of it's a gray area. But the problem with the franchise business is some of the franchise may not allow you to make any decision as to how the business needs to be run. So one of the essential ingredients of a E-2 visa is the fact that you should be able to develop and direct your business. As long as you have a freedom to do so, even if you purchase a franchise, it's a good idea to go into franchise business. Every E-2 visas, when it's granted initially, when you enter the United States, it's for a period of 2 years. You can always extend your E-2 visa, but every time you extend your E-2 visa, you have to show how the business has been running in the past year. I mean, if there is a profitability, great. If you have created more employment, fantastic. If the money which has been gained by the company as income raised by the company, if it's put back into business, it's even better. And as long as you show that you are doing what you said in the business plan and the company is successfully running, you would be able to renew your E-2 visas. And we did cover this initially. One of the big advantages of an E-2 visa is the fact that your spouse can also work and your children can also come to the United States with you. In immigration, a child or a children would mean anybody, any children under the age of 21. Your spouse can get an employment authorization document, it's called EAD, and either she can work for you or she can independently work for any other employer. But children cannot get an EAD. They can go to school or college, but they cannot obtain an EAD and work. How to prepare for an interview? This can be easy and it can be tough. You should always remember that you are the person who knows your business. Immigration officers or the officer at the consulate are not business experts. They are going to make a decision as to what is being presented to them, and they expect anybody who's coming to United States to run a business should know what exactly they are doing. So your business plan should be able to explain that, and when an officer goes through the business plan, if he has any questions about the business, you should be in a position to explain this. I mean, this leads to another question as to what kind of a business you want to run in United States. It always makes sense if the business which you are intending to start in the United States is something similar to what you have been doing in your home country, so that you know exactly what needs to be done. And in case if you are able to express the ideas of the business to the officer, and if you know what you are doing, the immigration officers will grant that petition.